Hey guys, today we're going to be looking at the Transformers G1 Universe Optimus Prime, and here he is, and I absolutely love this toy. I've been super excited to talk about this guy ever since I got him, and I got him for my birthday, so he's even more special, and I just want to say he is a top of the year contender with Power Dagwan and Cybertron Optimus, and I got to experience basically all three of them at the same time, and he's really, really good. The fact that this guy can contend with those two amazing toys has to say something already. But I'll talk about the weapons and that here in a bit, but we'll look at his truck mode, and obviously is G1 Prime's truck. I absolutely love this truck. If you haven't heard it before, I absolutely love big industrial things. I love excavators. I love construction equipment. I love semi-trucks. I love tanks. I love military equipment and military weapons. And this truck, his original G1 truck, is no exception, and I absolutely love this truck. It obviously does lack that sort of pop of color that the original one had with the deep, more navy, but that's, a bit more deep navy and then the more deeper red, but still, this guy is no slouch. Like the amount of silver paint there. I really don't mind the gray wheels and the smokestacks. These ones are a little annoying that they sort of wiggle. I wish that they weren't detailed in there, but they had the I can't remember what toy does it or what toys do it, but the swell, that like clip thing that holds them in, is on the outside. I personally would have preferred that. It would have thrown off the details, but I don't think it would have wobbled as much, and that is a tiny bit annoying, but he still does roll, and he has beautiful rubber wheels, or they're like soft plastic. I don't think they're rubber like the original, but they're definitely soft plastic, but makes him roll really nicely. But it is nice that the front ones are pinned. But yeah, I really do like him. Obviously, some of these lines do break it up a little bit, but I really cannot be asked. I don't care. And his feet, G1 Prime thing, or Prime thing in general, I really don't care about the feet, don't care about that. It's just a super cool, super fun truck mode, and it looks amazing. Just looks phenomenal. Absolutely love it. He's so fun, so detailed, so encompassing of G1 Prime. Just really, really fun. And it's just really fun. I really like him. And that's really it. It's G1 Prime, or in this somewhat similar case, Missing Link Prime. But yeah, I really, really like this toy. Now onto the weapons. Weapon storage. You have two ports on the bottom of his feet. You have the trailer hitch. I don't know what trailers are accessible with this hitch system. I just don't know. I don't have either of the Earthrise or 86 trailers, and I have not tried it with G1 trailer, and I haven't tried it with even a Laser Rod Prime's trailer, the Legacy one. So I don't know. And then you have two ports right there for more weapon storage. And this one, it has this small little, here I'll point it out with the axe, that small little groove right there for the cuff, I guess, of the axe to slide into, so it can neatly and nicely fit in there, and I absolutely love that. And there's still enough room that if yours is tight, you can still wiggle it. You get like a 1/16 of an inch of clearance, so you can still wiggle it. I really like that. Now the guns, I have no problem with the guns, but I will put them in these pegs, and hopefully you can see this. You might not, but there's a stress mark developing. I'll try it on this side, see if you can see. Or I might have to get another light to get more light in. But you can just barely see that. I'll get a light really quick. A little light. You can just see those stress marks are starting to develop from these guns being over 5 millimeters, or the ports, I assume, being maybe under 5 millimeters, and that is a little. It's not perfect. I wish that they were, and I think these ones have developed that too, but it's okay. Like, it's not that big a deal, but I just want it's just the tiniest little thing. Like, he's this far away from being perfect. And a breakage, like, if that were to crack, I would be really disappointed. Like I said, it's not that big a deal, but just barely, just this far away from being perfect. But like I said, it's not that, doesn't affect me that much. He's still a very cool toy. So yeah, that's really it for the truck mode. It's just G1 Prime. But now onto my favorite part, the transformation. This transformation is super addicting, super fun. One teeny tiny little thing, and I'll show it off right now. So I will start with the arms, and because there's this little tab right there on the side of the fuel tank, and then you have to match this like geometry bit up with this step thing, that you have to match this step with this step, and then you have to peg this tab. No, where is it? You have to, yes, this tab, I'm pretty sure, this tab with this hole, or just a tab here into this slot. And then you have to match this profile up with the wheel. And it's still easy, but it's not as fluid as I would personally like it to be. Like, it's not as fluid as just like the original toy, where you can just slam it in. Like, see, it's getting caught right there, so you have to just, kind of just slow down a little bit. That's what I'm getting at, is that with the original toy, you could just really flipping back and forth like super fast. And I get this toy isn't trying to be the original toy, trying to be a representation of it, not a replication. But I really wish that you could just do that a little bit more fluidly and just go right into itself. And it kind of does, but it's just nearly there. So, but it's, once again, the tiniest little thing. It's a nitpick. It's just the tiniest little nitpick, and it's not that big a deal. But bring out his arms, and then you bring down his legs, typical G1 Prime, and then you split them. The legs are a little annoying just because the ankles can swivel, so you kind of have to fiddle with them a little bit to get them to peg back together. But once again, tiniest little thing that is a nitpick. But you bring up the feet again, like typical, and people have talked about the way you expose the fists. You bring them down like that, and then you swivel them, and then you bring them back up, and people's have drooped, and mine do droop, but I don't really care. After as many times as I've transformed mine, and mine have really loosened up to where I don't feel like they're gonna break, but they were fairly tight when I initially got him. But really, I think it's a fine transformation scheme. It's just if the tolerances were better, I think it could be fairly fine, and it wouldn't have been more unanimously disagreed with, or people wouldn't have disliked it. But I'm fine with it. It doesn't bother me. But atypical of a lot of Optimuses, just fold the back panel down and fold up the head. And here he is, and he looks amazing. It's number one before I get into the robot mode. Transformation, fun, intuitive, shares a lot. I think it doesn't share too much with the missing link. Shares some ideas and concepts, I think, but it shares quite a bit with the G1 toy, and that's what I like. But I'm not going to get into that right now. I'll save that for my final thoughts. But I absolutely love the transformation. I absolutely love this robot mode. He looks incredible. And really, you think like, oh, he'd be too short. He's not. He's too like squat or whatever, because he is shorter than the original Prime. He's much shorter. I'll get into that little resin hand here in a second. But you would think that, and especially for a deluxe, I think he's on the shorter side for deluxes. You'd think that he would look out of proportion, and you'd assume that, but no, in my personal opinion, he looks completely perfect. He looks perfect. He shares, obviously he's shorter. You can see that his legs are significantly shorter, like just the sort of ratio to his shins, to his like thighs. The original definitely seems like that ratio is a bit better, I guess you could say. But overall, the way that the arms hang down and everything really looks like very proportionate. His chest may be a touch wider in proportions than this one, but really, it's not that big a deal. Like, he still looks amazing. So I'm not even gonna entertain this idea of out of proportion for that much longer, because he's in proportion for all I care. He looks amazing. Obviously, he has standard articulation, head, universal shoulders, bicep swivel. He does have only the 90 degree of bend, but it's okay. Wrist swivel, no wrist swivel, I should say. The one mono skirt, and then you have the outskirts. This is from Missing Link, the way that works. Can go out that far, all the way out, forward, back, all the way around, everything, all the way down, and that aforementioned ankle swivel. So yeah, I really like him, really, and he is just very, very good. And then we'll just go in on that head sculpt really quick, show that off. And I really like how they did the windshield, because it's a transclear insert, as you can probably see, and you may not be able to pick it up, but some of these pieces here on this side window, I'll use the X, like this strip and then the border around it have been painted. And if you look at this little block here, this is painted because it was transparent plastic, and they did a really nice job. You can see that, you can obviously see it in person and you can see it on the camera, but they did a really good job, in my personal opinion, especially for something like clear plastic, because when I was trying to paint that shoulder pad for my RD 2001 Optimus Prime, I made it out of plexiglass. If I didn't say that in the video, I made it out of plexiglass and I painted over it, and I had a trouble with just everything because it was clear. So I'm very happy that is remotely close to matching the rest of the plastic. I'm really happy with that. And then you can see that way more, all that transparent plastic, nice and thick. You don't have to worry about it coming out because it's slotted in right there, and then it's pegged in right there and there. So this isn't going to just pop out. If I was going to pop it out, I'd have to force it. And then his little matrix right here. It's not going to come out. I'm not going to get it out. Just, it's a transparent blue matrix. Kind of looks like it'd be like a candy or something. Just that like soft, like a Jolly Rancher or something. But it's just, I really like it. It looks really cool. He can't hold it, but most primes can't hold their matrices, so whatever. But yeah, if you can't tell, I just really, really love this guy. One of the things that I was really surprised about when I got this guy out of the box, and he has a waist swivel. I completely forgot to mention that. One of the things I was not expecting when I pulled this guy out of the box was how heavy and dense he would be. He is shorter, slightly shorter than from other modern deluxes, but that lack of height was transitioned, I guess you could say, or focused from height to density. Like, there's no hollow bits in him, just these tiny little bits on the insides of his legs and the tiniest little bits on the insides of his arms, but that's more, I would say, due to manufacturing rather than cost cutting. But there's no hollow bit, and obviously there is hollow, but it kind of has to be. And same thing with the chest, that kind of has to be hollow too. But he was very, very dense, and that's what I love about him, is that he feels like a dense, quality toy. And if they had to shrink down, make deluxes shorter to make them this dense and fun, I would instantly say I would take that any day, opposed to having a taller deluxe that scales better. That, in my personal opinion, and that's what I like about this guy, is that he doesn't have a lot of paint, so you can really just rough him around, go play with him. Don't have to worry about paint chipping or anything. And just, he's really fun. But before I get super deep into my thoughts about this guy, my final thoughts, let's talk about his accessories. So obviously you have your tune gun that has the regular sort of taper barrel, and then you have the toy gun, which I think is amazing. The fact that a deluxe can come with two amazing, like swap out accessories, with the toy one with the little muzzle thing, and then obviously his axe that I've been showing off throughout the video. The axe obviously works fairly simply. Well, all of them work fairly simply. You just put them in his hand. The axe works like a lot of other axes. And then you have the gun that just goes into his hand. And now we can talk about, and there's no storage really. There is this one port. It is unfortunate that there's no storage for the axe because the peg is too short to slide into that port. So that is a little unfortunate that the axe has nowhere to go. But what I like to do with one of the guns is I want to give it to, I made this little resin hand for my G1 Optimus so he can have a gun. It is smaller. It's significantly smaller. You can see how much smaller it is. But now he has a gun to be with, and I always keep one of the guns with him. But yeah, here he is, all armed up, ready to go. And he's just amazing. And he does have these toy details, the toy sticker details on his, just like the Missing Link toy, they are molded in. But just like the anime version of the Missing Link toy, they're unpainted. So, if you want to, and if you're skilled enough, you could paint those to get the even more toy experience. But I'm not going to do that. I am plenty happy with the way he is now. And once again, if you can't tell, I absolutely love this toy, and a lot of people do love this toy. I don't really know anyone who doesn't like this toy, but I would love to hear if someone doesn't like this toy. And same thing with these details on the knees. They're unpainted when they should be painted or have stickers. But I think obviously the reason why I love this toy so much is that it's just a good, solid, hardy toy that really, just really, really fun, really, really good, just encompasses everything. Complex and complex enough that a collector can own it and enjoy it and appreciate its high-end engineering. And then you have its simplicity of being based off of the original toy for a kid to just be able to flip it back and forth and not struggle with it, because there's no struggling with this toy. It's all pure fun, in my personal opinion. And it helps capture a lot of, it captures everyone. And that's what I love about it. It includes everyone. It's not like, maybe G-Axis. Like Legacy G-Axis, he has a bit more complex. Maybe not fiddly, but he has, it's very clever. But for maybe a kid, potentially, it may be a little frustrating. I don't know, that's just the first toy that comes to my mind here recently, but this toy definitely falls into the category of perfect. So yeah, and then I personally think that this toy is probably very inexpensive to produce, because obviously it's more expensive to produce because it's a brand new mold, unlike his wave mates like Slipstream and I can't remember the other one, but it's like Slipstream and Quake were retools or repaints. He isn't, but the fact that everything was done with this toy, and then even more was done with the Missing Link toy, this toy is like MP10 compared to MP01. He is a natural progression of the G1 Optimus persona and the G1 Optimus idea. Is that this is the natural step in progression, and that he can exist because this toy was amazing, then the Missing Link toy was amazing. He can exist at a cheaper price, at a cheaper engineering price, because basically all the work is done. Just take some of the bells and whistles out, but that's basically what this toy did. Is that this toy can be done super cheaply, I can assume, because 99% of the work was already done, and the one or two guys that worked on it just had to take away some of the bells and whistles from the Missing Link toy to get him. I just assume that he may have been the most expensive toy to produce of the wave. I don't know. But at least theorizing and understanding the natural progression of how it went, going from the amazing G1 to the amazing Missing Link. I don't own Missing Link, but it's amazing. And then to him, really, it's just a natural progression of making an amazing thing that's expensive, amazing thing that's expensive, amazing thing that's expensive, to an amazing thing that's cheap, because they're able to understand how to make it cheaper, so everyone can have one. That's just one other reason why I like him, is that everyone can have an amazing G1 Optimus, and the fact that he has to adhere to an already very basic design, like there's no specific cues, is that this guy turns into this guy's a truck. He is a truck. You can tell he's a truck. He'll always be a truck. So he doesn't have to adhere to any specific proportions. He doesn't have to adhere to any specific moment in a comic or a cartoon or a movie or whatever. It doesn't have to adhere to any screen accuracy or things like that. He just has to adhere to being this rough, basic design, and to be that same rough, basic designed truck. He has no real boundaries or limits. It's just like a general idea of what he has to be, and the fact that two toys already did it very, very well, he can just basically lead off of the success of that and just like get a C- when it comes to effort, and get praised for getting an A+. He can reap the rewards of the struggles of the original two toys as being inexpensive, being simpler, not simpler than the original, but reap the rewards of both of those toys, and go down as just as legendary as both of them put together. And that's something that I love about this toy, and that's what I love about Transformers in general, is when you get something like MP01 to MP10, is that you can clearly tell that MP01 is amazing, but he isn't great, and there's many things that can be improved upon. Same thing with the original Prime. He may be great, he may be awesome, but there are things that could have been improved. But that's where, and with Missing Link, the way his hips work, where they like spread apart, those can be breakage issues. And there's room for improvement. And that's what this toy did. You can see that progression of how better the designers got with engineering them. And even if there were different designers, which obviously from the original Prime to Missing Link to this guy, there's probably been at least a couple different engineers. But those ideas and concepts have changed, and those engineers have been able to see, well, let's just make the best Prime ever, make the best little toy ever, and you can see that progression, that each time, even the engineer learned from it, the different engineers learned from them, learned from the different toys, learned how to make this toy the pinnacle, in my personal opinion, other than maybe Cybertron, Optimus Prime, and maybe the Generations War for Cybertron Deluxe. Really, this guy is the pinnacle. This guy is the peak, and him. He's in the original toys in the camp, but he is the peak. He is the pinnacle of, number one, a modern Generations, modern toy design, modern everything. But he had everything done for him. He just had to show up, collect his check, and, be praised for everything that his predecessors did for him. But that's the whole point, is that's why he's potentially cheap. That's why he probably was maybe the cheaper toy of the wave. He's probably, that's just why I like him. That's why I respect this toy, is that he does so much well. He does so much well on top of what he does, and just his simplicity, the fact that he's so simple, so bare bones, makes him the king of it. Simplicity is king. You give more things to break down. You got more things to fix. You got more things to worry about, and try to, worry. If you're trying to make a Hypertune accurate toy, at a deluxe scale, well, and you have warped priorities, well, nothing, and there's just so many of those priorities, not really any of one of them is going to stick, because you have so many to reach for. When this guy, You just have to look like G1 Prime. And already making G1 Prime is easy because it's not that difficult. And that's just why I like this guy. Is that he's simple, he respects what he does, he understands and builds upon his predecessor's faults, and he's just a fun, cool toy. He's just, like I said, the pinnacle of Prime. Even if he's not the quintessential best Prime, I would maybe lean a bit towards 86 Prime, even though I don't own the Optimus. 86 Prime, but he is definitely in the camp of Earthrise Prime, is that he has the tiniest faults, but he is still beholden and radiates greatness of being amazing. I think this is the perfect progression. This guy is a perfect deluxe. The Earthrise Optimus is a perfect Voyager, and then, well, there's no, I'll just say it. Then the Laser Rod Prime is a perfect leader. Okay, maybe a perfect leader, but very close to being perfect. And then Commander, obviously 86 Prime is a perfect Commander, Optimus-wise. And that's what I love about him, is that, once again, this guy's going to be a stepping stone for the next G1 Prime, or even the next Optimus Prime. They are going to learn a lot from this guy, because before, the toys learned a lot to make him. And that's something that I absolutely love. I love it when the engineers, not every toy needs to be reworked from the ground up. You just need to keep building upon the ideas of the last toy, of the toy that preceded this toy. You don't need to go re-engineer it. You don't need to reinvent the wheel. And this toy shows it. Is that obviously this toy isn't, you can't do the same thing with this. You can't make, you just can't. Sometimes you just have to do things brand new, rework it. I get that. That's my biggest gripe with HasLab Star Saber, is that he doesn't do enough. He doesn't reinvent it enough. Some toys just don't like him. I respect and I love the idea that he takes every idea, every concept from the G1 Prime and Missing Link, and just refines it and makes it better, and you get an amazing toy. Some toys can't get away with that. If you try to do that, it just seems like you're not doing enough. You're not reinventing it enough. But this guy, he gets away with that. And that's just something that I love, is that his simplicity, his respect, and his reimagining is just phenomenal and amazing. I absolutely love this toy, and just really recommend him. He's just phenomenal, so fun, so cool, and yeah. So that's what I have to say. So till next time, see ya.